Welcome back to K-Sweeper. And oh boy, do I have some thoughts for you today. So, I just finished binge watching Wednesday Season 1 for the third time, and I've got to be honest with you guys. I'm not excited for Season 2. Yeah, I know, controversial take, but hear me out. Everyone's obsessing over Jenna Ortega's iconic dance and Wednesday's deadpan delivery, and don't get me wrong, she's incredible. But here's the thing that's been eating at me. This show has a character problem that nobody wants to talk about. Like, a big problem. Ugh. And it's so frustrating because the potential is right there. I went into this show with zero expectations. I barely remember the original Addams Family from when I was a kid, so I wasn't comparing it to anything. I was ready to fall in love with this dark, twisted boarding school story. And for the first few episodes, I was totally hooked. But by the finale, I was just, disappointed. The show isn't terrible. It's perfectly watchable, even fun at times. But for a series about werewolves, vampires, and psychic teenagers at a supernatural boarding school, it feels surprisingly bland. And I figured out exactly why that is. On to Wednesday, Addams. When character growth goes too fast. Okay, let's start with Wednesday herself. Because Jenna Ortega? Chef's kiss, absolutely phenomenal. Like, this girl is Wednesday Addams. The way she delivers those deadpan one-liners, the iconic outfits, that dance scene that broke the internet, pure perfection. Without her, this show would have been dead in the water. But here's where I start pulling my hair out. So Wednesday begins this season as this completely emotionally shut-off character, right? She hates vulnerability, she despises her family's affection, she literally tells people she never wants to fall in love or have a family. She gets expelled for putting piranhas in a school pool, which, honestly, kind of iconic. I'm watching this setup thinking, okay, this is going to be a slow burn. We're going to watch this girl gradually learn to open up, maybe struggle with letting people in. The questions are all there. Will she learn to be vulnerable? Can she master these psychic visions? Will she solve the murder mystery? Should she embrace emotions or stay true to her cold nature? But then, and this is where I literally paused the show and went, are you kidding me? By the season finale, Wednesday has basically done a complete personality flip. She's hugging people, she's crying, she's having heart-to-heart moments with her mother, she's thanking her classmates and apologizing left and right. Like, this would be fine if this was the series finale, but this is supposed to hook me for season 2. Where's the mystery left? What character development is there to explore? They basically resolved her entire emotional journey in 10 episodes, and that's just frustrated sigh. That's not how you build a compelling multi-season show. On to the love triangle that made me want to scream. Okay, and don't even get me started on Tyler and Xavier because, deep breath, this love triangle situation is where the show completely lost me. So Wednesday spends the entire season telling us she hates typical teenage experiences. She's disgusted by romance. She literally mocks her parents for showing affection. She makes it crystal clear that love is not on her agenda. So why? And I mean why? Are we forcing not one but 2 love interests on this girl? Ugh. It makes no sense. Tyler. Oh my God. Tyler. This boy is about as interesting as watching paint dry for 90% of the show. I kept a mental list of his personality traits. Makes coffee, likes Wednesday, has daddy issues. That's it. That's the whole character. When they revealed he was the Hyde monster, I should have been shocked. Devastated even. Instead, I was like, finally, something interesting about this guy. And the romance? Yeah, no, it never feels real because Tyler's obsession with Wednesday is completely unbelievable. She literally uses him for information, shows zero romantic interest, treats him like a convenient tool for her investigation. Yet he's supposedly head over heels? Even knowing he was manipulating her the whole time, the setup still doesn't work. Xavier is, slightly better, I guess. At least I can understand why he'd be attracted to Wednesday's authenticity after dealing with Bianca's siren manipulation. But oh my God, This boy forgives everything way too easily. Wednesday accuses him of being a serial killer, gets him thrown in actual jail, and by the next episode they're buddies again? Where are the realistic consequences for her actions? The real issue is Wednesday isn't emotionally ready for romance at this point in her development. Like, at all. If you want to explore her learning about different types of connections, fine, but make it make sense. Don't just throw two boys at her because you think the show needs romantic tension. Ugh, it's so lazy. On to Bianca, the character who actually got me invested. Now here's where I'll actually praise the show. Bianca is genuinely fascinating, and she got completely robbed of screen time. Seriously, every single scene with Enid and Ajax should have been given to exploring Bianca's story instead. So she starts as your typical mean girl queen bee, and I'm thinking, great, another one-dimensional bully. But then they start peeling back these layers, and I'm like, wait, this is actually really compelling. She can never know if someone truly loves her or if it's her siren song influencing them. Her amulet is supposed to dampen her powers, but it's not foolproof. She can't even trust her own emotions. God, that's genuinely tragic and so much more interesting than anything happening with the love triangle. Then we learn she's been living under a fake identity after escaping from her mother's cult. Like, excuse me? This girl sirened her way into Nevermore and has been terrified of losing everything she's built. When her manipulative mother shows up to blackmail her back into the cult's schemes, I was actually invested. I cared about what happened to her. The rivalry with Wednesday evolving into mutual respect. Chef's kiss. Perfect. Their bonding moment over relationship troubles felt earned, not forced. And when Bianca saves Wednesday's life in the finale, I actually felt something because we'd watched both characters grow. This is how you do character development while maintaining intrigue for future seasons. Bianca helps defeat the bad guys, but she's still living this double life that could explode at any moment. She's found some peace with Wednesday, but her family situation is messier than ever. There are actual stakes and unresolved conflicts that make me want to see what happens next. On to Enid. The roommate situation that broke my heart. Sigh, Enid. This one genuinely breaks my heart because the concept is so solid. The eternally optimistic werewolf roommate who can't transform yet, paired with Wednesday's doom and gloom energy. The unlikely friendship setup should have been comedy gold and genuine character development for both of them. But the execution is just, it's rough. First off, the dialogue is painfully cringeworthy. All that avi and one hundo slang. Like, did any actual teenagers read this script? It feels like it was written by 40-year-olds who think they know how Gen Z talks. And apparently, Jenna Ortega rewrote a lot of Wednesday's lines, which explains why Wednesday's dialogue is sharp and witty, while Enid sounds like she's reading from a How to Be a Teenager handbook. But the real problem? They resolve all of Enid's major conflicts way too quickly. And I mean all of them. She's struggling with being a late bloomer werewolf? Boom! She transforms at the perfect moment to save Wednesday. She's fighting for her mother's acceptance? Well, now that she's wolfed out, that's basically solved. She and Wednesday have trust issues after the Gates Mansion incident? They're hugging it out by the finale. Like, where's the journey? Where's the struggle? Enid failing to transform and having to find other ways to help Wednesday would have been so much more interesting than this convenient last-minute wolf out. Let her prove her worth as a friend and partner without magical abilities. Give her real consequences to work through in Season 2. Yeah? No? Instead, we get everything wrapped up in a neat little bow, leaving nothing compelling for her character moving forward. On to Principal Weems. Gone too soon. Okay, can we talk about how they did Gwendolyn Christie dirty? Because Principal Weems was genuinely one of my favorite characters, and they killed her off way too early. Like, this woman looked absolutely stunning in every single outfit. That 60s-inspired look had me obsessed. And her dynamic with Wednesday was so entertaining. The philosophical questions her character raised were actually interesting. Are her morals right? What are the consequences of forgetting the past? How far is too far, even for the greater good? She's willing to cover up student deaths to protect the school's reputation, which is morally questionable but understandable from her perspective. Her rivalry with Wednesday was comedy gold, and I would have loved to see how else they might get on each other's nerves. Plus, there was clearly more history with her and Morticia to explore since they were former classmates. But nope. Ugh, they write her out in the finale. And for what? So Laurel can have an easy path to her evil plan? Such a waste of a compelling character and talented actress. On to the finale. That made me question everything. Oh boy, let's talk about that finale, because, deep breath, what an absolute mess. So Laurel Gates resurrects Joseph Crackstone to do exactly what she was already doing herself? Like, she's been successfully murdering outcasts all season, so why does she suddenly need a 400-year-old pilgrim to help her? And get this, why is Crackstone suddenly a powerful sorcerer? This is the same guy who wanted to burn Wednesday's ancestor for being a witch. Shouldn't he be horrified that he's become the very thing he tried to destroy? But no, there's zero internal conflict, zero character development. It's just, evil pilgrim is evil. And also has magic now. Ugh, so lazy. The final battle lasts about 5 seconds, which is just embarrassing for a show about a school full of supernatural teenagers. You're telling me none of these kids with actual powers could put up more of a fight? I was sitting there like, that's it? That's the big climactic battle? The whole resolution felt rushed and completely unsatisfying, like they suddenly realized they were running out of time and just threw together whatever would technically end the season. On to what Season 2 desperately needs to fix. Okay, so here's what the show absolutely needs to do if it wants to keep me invested. Slow down the character development and give these relationships room to breathe. Wednesday's emotional growth should be gradual and hard-fought, not a complete personality transplant in 10 episodes. Focus on the characters who actually have compelling unresolved conflicts. Bianca's double life and family drama is genuinely intriguing. Wednesday's struggle with her psychic abilities and her family legacy has potential if they don't rush through it. The school's internal politics between different supernatural groups could be fascinating if they actually explored it instead of just mentioning it in passing. Please, for the love of all that's dark and twisted, stop forcing romance where it doesn't belong. If you're going to include it, make it feel authentic to the characters involved. Wednesday. Caring about someone romantically should be a massive deal that takes serious development, not something that happens because the plot demands it. Most importantly, remember that the best first seasons end with satisfaction and intrigue in equal measure. You resolve enough to feel complete, but leave enough questions that viewers desperately need answers. Wednesday Season 1 resolved too much and left too little mystery about these characters' futures. Sigh. The supernatural mystery plot is fine as a secondary element, but the real draw of this show should be watching these complex, flawed characters navigate relationships and personal growth. When you rush through all that development in one season, you're left with nowhere interesting to go. Look, Wednesday has incredible potential. The cast is talented, the setting is rich with possibilities, and Jenna Ortega proves she can absolutely carry a show. But if Season 2 doesn't learn from these character development mistakes, all that potential is going to be wasted on another rushed, unsatisfying conclusion. Yeah, so those are my thoughts on Wednesday Season 1. I know I sound harsh, but it's because I can see how amazing this show could be if they just slowed down and let these characters breathe. What did you guys think? Did any of these relationships work for you, or did you feel the same disconnection I did? Let me know in the comments. I genuinely want to know if I'm being too critical or if you felt some of these same issues. And hey, don't forget to subscribe to K-Sweeper because, trust me, we're just getting started with these deep dives into the shows everyone's talking about. Until next time, keep questioning everything with me. Ugh, and maybe pray that Season 2 gives us the character development we actually deserve.